Hello, welcome to the first section. We're going to learn how to open the file. So there's a number of ways to do this. The first is to search up for it. If you click on this button at the bottom. Now Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10 are very similar. They all have search icons. If we go here, I believe Windows 7 is if you click the Windows, it's on there for memory. And you can just type in power, and that should show a PowerPoint. And you can click on that and open it. Here we go. And this is the first screen you'll see in PowerPoint. On the left, we have all the recent files you've been working on. And this is really good if you're working on the same file and you just want to open one that you recently had. Now, PowerPoint and Microsoft are super awesome, and they have provided a lot of templates that you can use straight away. But we're going to start with a blank presentation. And all you have to do is click blank presentation. And that's it. And now we have a completely empty, nothing in it presentation. This is kind of where we start to fill it in with data. Very important. You've got to save your document. And saving is super simple, because I hear this all the time. People go, oh, I lost my work. And because I'm in IT, I go, did you save it? And they go, no, I didn't save it. So please save it. And it is very easy. You just have to click this File menu tab on the top left. And you're going to see Save and Save As. The one you want is Save As. And what that's saying is, I want to save it as a file. Okay, so we click on that, and you're going to see these options. We want to save on our computer, so we're going to click Computer, like so. And I want to browse where I'm going to save. I just want to save them the desktop, so let's click Browse. And that's going to show this dialog box. We're going to click on Desktop, and I'm just going to save it as Presentation 1. And we go Save, and there we go. So now if we close this, we'll still have the file. Now, next thing, how do we close this? Very easy. We have two choices. We can use this X at the top right-hand corner, and that will close the file. Or we can go to File in the top left, and we can go Close right here. Both do the exact same thing. Now, if you've saved it and then you made some changes, PowerPoint is going to ask you, do you want to save the changes that you made? And more often than not, you're going to say yes, okay? So let's go ahead and close this, and there we go. And it's gone. And then if we click this X, we'll close the program. Computers can get very annoying, especially when you're super busy. They tend to want to crash on you and freeze right when you're about to finish your project. So a neat little trick that I want to teach immediately is what's called autosave. Microsoft Office has a function where every designated time you can set, by default it's 10 minutes, it will save a temporary version of your file so that within 10 minutes, let's say it crashes, you can go back to that file that it saved 10 minutes ago, right? A problem is, if you're a super fast worker and you can get a lot done in 10 minutes, you may lose a lot of work. So it's best to reduce that time as much as you can, maybe even 1 minute. Now, it's really easy to do. You simply go to the File menu tab, like so. We're going to go to Options at the bottom, and that's going to open up a dialog box. We want to go Save, which is the third from the list, right here. And then we want to set this time to 2 minutes or less. I'm going to set it to 2 minutes, and make sure it's ticked. So we can either use these little triangles and go all the way down to 2, or we can just type it in. And once you're happy with that, we just press OK. So anytime you're making changes in your settings, make sure you press OK. If you press Cancel, it's not going to save the changes. OK. So what happens now is every 2 minutes, it's going to save a version for me. So in case I accidentally spill coffee on my keyboard, or my cat runs over the laptop, which would be super weird because I don't own a cat, and my file accidentally gets corrupted or closed or something, at least I'll still have a temporary file that I can get. All right? So very important. And that's it for this one. I'll see you at the next video. Hey, welcome back. So in this one, I'm going to show you how to save changes to your file. So let's say you added a new slide, you've done a little bit of work. You need to save the changes so that you don't lose them if you close it. Okay, so saving is super easy. I'm actually going to show you how to do it manually and then how to use a keyboard shortcut. So what we want to do is go to the File menu tab right there. Get out my drawing tool. Then we just want to click Save right there. Fourth from the list, save. And what that will do is it just saves all the changes you've made. That's all. Now, to do a keyboard shortcut, you just press Control S, and I'll put an overlay image there for you so you know how to do it. And what you should really be doing is developing the habit of when you're thinking or as you're making it, just press Control S. It takes like a fraction of a second, and it's a good habit to build so that as you're building, you're saving your work. You don't want to lose like 10 minutes or let alone a whole day's work because you didn't take 1 second to save it, okay? So very important, make sure you save. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello, welcome back. We're going to cover slide layouts. Now, you may have guessed already, but this is your slide. Now, on the left shows all the slides you have, and then this main window shows the slide you are currently working on. So I'm going to show you how to add a new slide. It's very, very simple. Make sure you're on the Home menu tab, and you just want to go to the Slide section right here, and you want to click on New Slide. Now, what you'll notice is it's actually divided into two parts. We want to click on this one at the bottom, and this lets us actually pick which slide type we want. Now, as you can see, there are 9 to choose from. I believe you can make your own if you really wanted to, or you can adjust these as you go. So what we want to do is we want to add 2 more slides. We're going to add one that is just title and content. And if we click that, what you'll see on the left is we now have another slide. We have 2, and you can just navigate using this left one. And we want to add another one, which is just the, where is it? Title only, like so. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's how you add slides. But let's say I've already built my template and then I want to change this layout. I actually want this in a different kind of structure. So the way to do that is, again, you go to the Home menu tab, Slides, and you want to click this layout button right here. So if we click on that, we can actually change the layout that we currently have. I want it to be to content. So this one on the left. And that will adjust what we have there. So it's very, very simple. Now, a great thing is if you already have text in there, it will actually move the text around automatically for you. Okay? Now, let's say you want to type some stuff into this. It's very, very simple. Let's go to the first slide. I'm just going to type in some text like so. Like this. Right? And let's say I accidentally moved something, or you made a mistake, or something like that, right? You can actually reset anything that you've done layout-wise very, very simply. So if I go to the Home menu tab, again, Slides, you just want to click Reset, and that's just going to put everything back to the way it was, like so. Very, very simple and very, very useful, especially when you're kind of playing around trying to get the layouts right. Now, the last thing is, let's say you created a slide, and it's got an embarrassing photo of you. You need to delete it quickly. So here's how to do it. If you go to the navigation on the left side, you see some slides here. We're going to go ahead and delete one of these. Let's delete the last one. So very easy. You select it, make sure it's highlighted like so. Now you can press delete on your keyboard, or you can right-click and go delete slide. Either way, it's the same thing. We'll click on that, and that gets rid of the slide. And that's it. That's how you use your slide layouts. So I hope you enjoyed, and see you at the next video. Hey, welcome back. So in this one, I'm going to teach you how to do some text formatting, followed by some special formatting for like paragraphs and bullet points and so on. But we'll begin with just simple text. Now, the great thing about this particular video is that the training for this one is the same across all the other Microsoft Office softwares, programs. So Microsoft Word is the same, Excel, and so on. So anytime you need to adjust text, you can apply what you're going to learn here to those other programs. So I've gone ahead and just written something in to my file, and I wrote that in so I wouldn't forget what I'm supposed to write. And it's really easy to type in PowerPoint. You'll have sections like so that you created. To write in them, you just click inside and you start typing. That's all there is to it. It's really simple, like so. Very, very simple. Really easy. So you can go ahead and copy this. Now, Luna is my new border collie dog, and she's about 16 weeks old, and she's super, super weird. So I'm using her as an example for this course, and she seems to just keep barking at her own reflection, especially really late at night, and so I wrote my dog is weird. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust some of the formatting, and it's really, really easy. First, you need to highlight what you're going to be adjusting. Now you can either do it like this, click and drag, like so, or you can click on the actual outline of that box, like so. And what you'll notice is when you click on the outline, the line becomes a solid line. If I'm inside, it's dotted. That's how you can tell if you selected it or not. And when your cursor changes to this 4 arrow, that's when you click. All right? Now, to do any type of text formatting, it's very easy. We go to the Home menu tab, and we're going to be working primarily in this font section right here. If I can draw a really nice square. It's a horrible square, but that's where we are going to be working. First thing is we're going to be adjusting the actual font. Calibri, Times New Roman, that's always the kind of standard font you're going to get. So to adjust it, we're going to highlight, like so. We got to click here on the first one, and there's heaps of fonts that you can choose from. Now, the earlier versions of Excel, Excel PowerPoint, I'm talking 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it didn't actually show what the font looked like here. So you had to literally go through each one and see what they looked like. So, little blast from the past. We're going to choose one. What's a playful one? Let's choose. Which one do I like? Which one do I like? Rockwell. Oh, I like Rockwell. So go ahead and click that. And what you'll see is the font has now changed. Now let's do that again. Let's say I didn't highlight. This is what happens if you don't highlight. If your cursor is just there and you try and change it to Rockwell or anything else, let's say Algerian, nothing's going to happen because you haven't told PowerPoint what do you want it to change. It doesn't know. You haven't highlighted anything, so you always got to highlight. So let's do the same thing for this one. Let's highlight that. Let's go here. And what you'll notice is when you start using fonts, it's actually going to add it to a recently used fonts section. So there you don't have to search for it all over again. So I can actually just go Rockwell. And lastly, if you hover means not to actually click on it. You're just floating your mouse over it. You notice that the text is changing on the right. So it kind of allows you a little bit of a preview to what it's going to look like. So that's super helpful. So let's go ahead and choose Rockwell. And the next thing we're going to adjust is the size. This one, I like the size. It's quite large. But this subtitle here is way too small. You're not going to be able to read that. So we need to make it a bit bigger. So again, when you apply any type of text formatting, you simply highlight the section and apply your formatting. We're going to be adjusting the size. So if you go Home menu tab, and you'll see a number right here. That is the size of your text. If we click in there, there's heaps to choose from. Now, what you'll notice is sometimes it skips numbers, like 44 to 48 or from 12 to 40. If you want 13, you can just type that in from your keyboard, like so. And then press Enter, and that will do 13. Now we want quite a large one, so let's hover until it's kind of sufficient. I don't want it to be as big as my title, because then it's going to get confusing. So we go 32, seems pretty good. And there you go, that's how you adjust the size. Now before we go, one last thing. There's another way to adjust size. If we go back to the Home menu tab, into the font section, you're going to see these two A's here, one with the up triangle pointing this way, I can draw, and this one with the down triangle pointing that way. This adjusts the size of your font incrementally, so little by little. So if I click here, it slowly increases like so. So very, very useful. I use this a lot for if I have lots of things on the screen and I can highlight everything and slowly adjust until I get what I like. And that's it. That is how you adjust the font and font size. Hope you enjoy. See you at the next video. Hello, welcome back. In this one, I'm going to be doing some more formatting, some more lettering, and what we're going to be doing is what's called bold, italic, and underline. We're going to be looking at uppercase and lowercase, text coloring, and then also, let's say you've messed it up so badly and it just looks like a mess. I'll show you how to reset the text. Very simple. So again, whenever you're adjusting text, you got to highlight. So let's begin by doing that. So let's highlight this. What I want to do is I want to give this title a little bit more flavor so it stands out. And I can use what's called bold, italic, and underlines. If I go to the Home menu tab, we go to the font section, you're going to see this BIU. Okay? If I go in there, as I've highlighted the text, if you click bold, it makes your text thicker. See? As I turn it on, it gets thicker. That's what bold does, so it kind of emphasizes text. So that's really good for within a sentence and so on. The next one is what's called italic, and italic slants your text. So if I click on that one, it gives a little bit of an angle. All right, so another way to emphasize. And the last one is to apply an underline to all your text. So if I click on U, that's how you apply underline. So you can see how different these two are now, the subtitle and title, just from those three things. I haven't changed the font or anything like that, just bold, italic, underline. Now, it's a good practice that I learned from an art friend of mine who does like graphics and all that. You don't really need that many. You kind of just need one. Underline, you kind of want to avoid that if necessary. Bold is usually enough. That's kind of a good rule of thumb. Don't go nuts with the formatting, okay? So the next thing is that I'm going to teach you is what's called uppercase, lowercase, and that is essentially just making all this uppercase capital letters. Now before this is kind of a new function that I learned. If you go to the Home menu tab and we're going to font, it's this button right here. Now what it allows you to do is switch them all to uppercase, lowercase, sentence case, and so on. So I'm going to hover through each of these. Sentence case removes all capitals except the first letter. So if I get out of that, you'll see that all words in here have capital letter. If I go sentence case, it gets rid of it, except for the first word. Luna, Luna. Lowercase gets rid of all capitals. Uppercase is all capitals. Capital each word makes the first letter capital, which is super useful, especially if you have. You know what's weird? There are people in this world who love typing in capital letters all the time. And I think that when I told people I hate that, they started doing it more, like it's like a conspiracy or something. So this function, thank you, Microsoft, you saved my life and a lot of the friendships I have, because I probably wouldn't be friends with them anymore due to pure frustration. So that, and then you have toggle case, which is the absolute reverse of what we have currently. So that is the uppercase, lowercase. I'm not actually going to change any of them. I'm going to leave it as is because I do like it. So I'm going to leave it like that. The next thing is the text color. Now this is really great because, again, it's another way of emphasizing a certain part of your text. The title needs to stand out. So let's use this text coloring button over here. So again, we're all only working in the font section. Now you'll notice this has two parts. You have the A with the color underneath and then a triangle. The triangle lets you choose the color, whereas this one lets you apply the last color you chose. So let's do an example. If I click on this triangle, there's heaps to choose from. Which one do I like? No, feeling orange. What am I feeling? I'm feeling like I'm purple. Purple. There we go. So let's say we pick this one. If I click on that, you'll notice that the little A up here is going to change to purple. So let's go ahead and do that. I go purple. It is now purple. So this is really useful when you're changing multiple things on the same page so that you don't have to keep going in and thinking purple. Okay, like so. But I want to change it again. Let's change it to... yellow is just too crazy. I'm not that crazy. It's not my personality. All right, let's go with gold. Okay? And that's how you do text coloring. Now, let's say you've done some really weird stuff. You changed all the colors to all sorts of stuff. Right. You got carried away, like you were impressing a girl or something. You're like, hey, look how many colors I can change. And she's like, I'm not into guys who can change lots of colors. You need a way to go back. Here's how you go back. Highlight everything. We go to the font section. And we select this button right here. And that gets rid of all the formatting, goes back to the absolute original that we had, okay? Which is the default formatting Calibri Light. And that is how you do formatting for text. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey, welcome back. So before we do some more formatting, learning about justifications and bullet points and all that extra stuff, I'm going to teach you what's called the undo function. So what does the undo function do? The undo function lets you go back a single step, and you can use it as many times as you want until PowerPoint can't go further back. So let me show you what I mean. Let's say you type reflection. Let's say we change this to a different color. Let's say we change it to yellow. And then we realize we don't really want it to be yellow because we can't really see it. What you can do is press undo and you'll go back a single step before you applied yellow. So the undo function is up here, and it is this little arrow that is facing backwards. Now, This is part of what's called the quick access toolbar, which I've dedicated an entire chapter to, so I'm not going to go into huge detail. So let me show you what happens when I press it. I press undo. It goes back a single step. Now let me show you what it does multiple steps. So I change it to orange, then green, then blue, right? As I press undo, it goes back a single step each time. So it goes back to black. Now, there's going to be a case where this undo function is not available, simply because the icons up here, the quick access toolbar, is something you can customize. So let me show you how to add that in if you don't have it. So what you do is, you go File, you go Options at the bottom. We go to, which one? Quick access toolbar, third from the bottom. And we want to go all the way, I'm just going to remove this one just to show you. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom of Popular Commands. And you're going to see undo. So you want to select that and then press add here in the middle. And that's going to add it to your quick access toolbar, which is this section on the right. So if I click add, that's going to add it in there, and we press OK. And that's how you add it. So it's very, very simple, but very, very useful. And you'll be using it for not only Microsoft Office, but basically any other thing you do. So in web browsers, in Notepad, in other programs, Twitter, basically anywhere. So it's a very, very useful function. Now, the keyboard shortcut for that I should mention is Control Z. So I'm going to post up a picture of how to do that, Control Z. And that is what I usually do. I don't usually have a button here on the top. I just use the keyboard. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Hey, welcome back. So we're going to do another lecture video on formatting, but this time we're going to be concentrating more on paragraphing, so justification, bullet points. I'll explain what that is. So first, let's put some data in here. I'm going to put my dog's actual name, so it's Luna Lovegood. And if you don't know who Luna Lovegood is, I'll actually show you a photo, and you probably know who I'm talking about. So this is the girl from Harry Potter, and that is basically who we named our dog after, on the orders of my girlfriend. So, I mean, you could do what you're told, you know? So that's the first thing we'll put in there. And now we want to have what's called bullet points. Now, if you don't know what bullet points are, it's these little dots here. Okay? So as we type it, I'm just going to write some stuff in for now. As you press enter, it creates a new bullet point. Now, let's say you accidentally deleted all this and you had no bullet point, right? I'll show you how to add that in. Very, very simple. In my drawing tool, you've got to go to the Home menu tab, and make sure your cursor is in there, by the way. It should be in there. Okay, so you go to the Home menu tab, you go to the paragraph section, and you're going to see these two things here. You're going to see the dots, and you're going to see the numbers. So it's up to you. You can either have dots or numbers. We'll do both. If I click dot, it creates a dot in there for me. So again, I can do that, and every time I press enter, it creates a new tab, right? Pretty easy. Now, you can do the same thing for numbers. So let me show you how to do that. It all depends on what you're trying to show. Okay, so we go to the Home menu tab. Again, we're in the paragraph section. This time we're going to click on number. So we'll click on that, and it will write a number for us. So each time I press enter, it's going to go 2, 3, 4, and so on. Very simple. Now, there's going to be a case where and I do this all the time just because I'm indecisive. I do numbers and I go, oh, actually, I need bullet points. So instead of writing the whole thing again, here's how you can switch between them. You highlight everything that you have, like so, and then you can click immediately on the bullet points of the first one that we use, basically, and it will switch them over. And you can switch over between them as many times as you want. Very easy, very simple. Now, the other thing is, you may not want a black dot. You may want a different kind of symbol for that. So here's how you do it. If I highlight those sections, I can click on this triangle here next to the dot, and you have a variety that you can choose from. Or you can create your own if you go bullets and numbering. So let's go check that out. So you can go here, or you can upload an image. Oops, I picked the wrong one. You can upload an image of what you want as the little indent. Or you can actually pick one from a list of symbols by clicking on this Customize button. Let me actually show you what that is. Clicking that Customize button. So you've got a number of options how you want to do it. Okay, we're just going to be quite simple. We're just going to choose, oops, I don't want that. I'm going to choose this one. And it is kind of useful if you need it to be a tick box. If you're going to print out this document later on, it can be a tick box. Okay, so we have some text there. So that's bullet point and justification. Now, I'm actually going to write some information here about my dog. The dog is a border collie, right? It is aged 16 weeks. It is red in color. It is annoying at night. Annoying at night. And peas at the front door. Just to annoy me. All right. So just some facts about having a border collie as a pup. Now, you can have what's called hierarchy or indents. And what that means is this. If I move this over, I'm just going to use the shortcut just to show you. You can have it like that. Right? And this is good for separating things. So let's say I'm writing something else for another dog. So we have another dog, and it's a Jack Russell Terrier. No, I suppose not. Terrier. But its real name is Sir Henry. He's my dog friend. So you can have that as indent. So let me show you how to do an indent. Let's first get rid of these indents. Oh, can't do it that way. Not to do it this way. All right. So let's say you have it like this. What you can do is first highlight the section that you want to move to the right. Check. Next, we want to go to the Home menu tab. We want to go to the paragraph section, and it's these icons here. This one on the right indents to the right, so it pushes it this way. And the one on the left pushes it that way. Now, currently we're on the furthest left, so this one is all grayed out. But let me show you. If I press right, it goes to the right. If I press left, it goes to the left. Now, you can go as many as you want. So let's say I have section and then another subsection underneath. Like so. You can keep going as many as you want. So this is a neat way of keeping things a little bit more organized. If you want the keyboard shortcut, it's pretty easy. There's two things you got to do. First is you just click wherever it's going to be. Right? Let's say I'm going to push this to the right, and you just want to press Tab on the keyboard. Right? So I'll post up a little photo how to do that. Now, to go to the left, you want to hold the Shift key and then press Tab again, and that goes to the left. So if Tab, Shift Tab, Tab, Shift Tab, Tab, Shift Tab. Pretty easy, right? So that's indents, and the last thing I'm going to show you is what's called paragraph spacing. Because you guys are doing Microsoft PowerPoint, and you're going to be presenting this in front of a class or in front of your peers, it needs to be legible, and you need to be able to read it. So if your text is too close together, what I mean by this is where this one ends and this one begins, if that space is too short, people in the back of the room won't be able to judge that gap just because how the brain processes information. So you kind of want to space this out as much as you can. Here's how I do it. It's very easy. We highlight everything we've got. We go to, again, the paragraph section, and it is this button here. So there are presets, and there is an option that you can set it yourself. So if I click on that, one is with nothing, on 0.5 increases it, and then it gets further and further. So usually I just use the presets. In the other programs, there's a 1.15. I know why this one doesn't have 1.15. But let's say you wanted 1.37 because you're superstitious. You go line spacing. And then here in spacing, where is it? This one right here. That's where you can set the height. So if I go 1 point, I don't know if it does second decimal value, okay? And there you go. So you can have your own customized value for this, okay? And that's how you do paragraph spacing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time. Hey, welcome back. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, again, some more formatting. This time we're going to be looking at justification and text alignment. Now, I like the word justification because it makes me sound super smart when I'm really not that smart. Justification is just a fancy word for determining where this text lies within this box. So right now it's on the left, right? If we push this to the right, so that it's leaning here, that is right justification. If it's in the center, it's center justification. I'll show you how to edit that. It's really easy. Let's go select the text, and you want to go into your Home menu tab. We're going to go into the paragraph section, and these four here are the justification tabs. Now, as you can see, the first one has been highlighted, which shows that it's left justification. The next one is center. The third one is right justification. And I forgot what the fourth one is called. Oh, it's just called justify. Yeah, I thought there was an actual word for that. So anyways, there isn't. So if I just highlight this, I can go center or to the right. Very easy, right? And you can apply that to pretty much anything you want in terms of text. Now, there's another thing with this, and that's the vertical alignment. Now, right now, if you look at this, if this is the top, bottom, and middle, this is middle justified vertically, so vertically up and down. You can put it on the top or you can put it at the bottom. So I'll show you how to do that. Again, we're in the paragraph menu tab, and you want to look into this align text button right here. If I click that, you can show whether you want it to be top, middle, or bottom. Pretty simple. And that's essentially what justification is. So this is a really short subject, justification. Hope you enjoyed, and see you with the next video. Hey, welcome back. So I thought I would add this as an additional lecture on justification. Originally, I wanted to show it simply because it doesn't completely apply to PowerPoint, but it may apply to other things that you do. The fourth justification, if we go to our paragraph section, you'll notice that in the previous one, we only did the first three, and that's really all you'll be using in PowerPoint. In Microsoft Word or any kind of word processing, you may use the fourth one, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So right now we have left justification. You notice that this is completely flush or flat on the left side. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. If I go center justification, it does that. Right justification, you notice that the one on the right is completely flat. And if you do the fourth one, it makes a flat on the left and right side. The only time I've really used that is when I was writing journal papers, when I was a researcher. Other than that, I haven't really used that. And I've actually included a section in this course all about what you should and shouldn't do in terms of Excel. And one is writing in massive paragraphs anyway. And that's why I discourage using any massive number of text. So if you only have dot points like this, you're never going to use this fourth one. Not that I can think of. So I discourage that. Don't write massive text, but that is what the fourth icon does. So you may use it for Microsoft Word. So that's it, just a short one, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Hello, welcome back. So we are at the next section, which is kind of one of my favorite things to do on PowerPoint, which is handling images. And the reason I love doing it so much is because I am not artistic at all, but PowerPoint and all the Microsoft Office packages make it so easy to make it look like you're artistic, and that's why I love it. So first thing is, how do we actually get images into PowerPoint? Now, you're going to be using images a hell of a lot. There are three ways you can get images. Let's do the first one. You will have a section like so, right? And what you'll notice is there are icons in here. Now, I'll go through each one. I'll divide it into 6. So the first one is if you want to generate a table. The next one is a chart. The third one is Smart Art. Now, for these first three, I will have sections in this course dedicated to each one of these separately because they are big topics, right? The next three is where the images come from. So the first one is taking an image from your computer, taking an image from the internet, and the third is taking a video from the internet. So videos we're going to do much, much later on, right? We're going to begin with the first, which one is it? The fourth and the sixth. So getting an image from your computer or from the internet. Let's do the internet one first. So we're going to click on this one, online pictures. Now, if you don't want to use this particular icon, right, it is also available in the menu tab. So if you go to the insert menu tab, the first time we're going into the insert, you're going to go into the images section right here, and you're going to use online pictures. So you can click that as well. And make sure you have selected this one. If you are out here, right, you're not in there and you do online pictures, it will just copy onto the sheet and just not into this section. That's the only difference, right? But your image will still be there. Okay, so we go online pictures, and this is going to, and make sure you're connected to the internet, of course. That is going to connect this module to the internet, and you can search for an image. So let's say dog, D-O-G, and we press enter. Is it enter? No, search. Why is that not working? There we go. It was just a bit of a lag. Okay, so now we have some results. Now, be careful with these because you'll have this Creative Commons licenses. So if you're not using it for any commercial reasons, then you should be fine. But you can pick any one of these. We'll give it a tick, like so. And we go insert. Now this module is a little bit slow at first. The first time you use it speeds up a little bit as after the first time. So now you have your image in there, right? Pretty simple. To get rid of an image, you just select it and you press delete on your keyboard. Now I don't want to do that. I just want to press undo. So Control Z to get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to resize it before we look into the other two types of image importing. So to move it around, actually, you just click and drag, right? And PowerPoint, the new versions, have these guidelines where it actually matches up to the other boxes in your on your sheet. So for example, this top one right here, if I actually put a border on it, so we can see, so shape outline, it will align itself automatically to the top there. See how it locks? So called grid locking. It's pretty pretty. That's pretty helpful. Okay, so I want this to match up. We'll put it right there. Now to resize, you can grab these handles. And there should be 8 of them. Okay. If you grab any of these 4, it will stretch the image and distort it, right? It will do this. But if you want to make a bigger and preserve the scale, so when I made scale, it's the ratio between this side and this side, right? You can grab one of the corner ones, and that will actually preserve that ratio no matter where your cursor is, right? So I'm going to make it quite large, and there we go, we can move it. And now we have a picture of a dog. All right, pretty useful. But that's not my dog. I want my dog in there. So I'm going to delete this. And we're going to add an image from my computer. So I'll get my drawing tool up. We go to the Insert menu tab. And we can click on Pictures right here. Or we can click on this icon right here. Same thing. So let's go ahead and click that. And it's going to open up the Insert Picture dialog. I'm going to go look for that image. Where did I put the image of my dog? PowerPoint for beginners. Here we are, Mrs. Luna Lovegood. I took this photo early this morning. She was a bit lazy today. So we insert, and that is my puppy, cute little puppy in her bed. Okay, so that is a picture of my dog. So that is how you handle images. Oh, there's one more thing I forgot to add. Screenshot. A screenshot is useful. So let's say I'm going to bring up just something here. Let's see. I was watching. Let's just use this article, right? Let's just say I have a page like this, and there's a picture. I want to get this picture. You can go into Insert, and make that bigger, Screenshot. And it's going to take some screenshots of your actual screen. But the one you want to do is, hold on. Screenshot is this one at the bottom, Screen Clipping. And that's going to minimize PowerPoint. And it's going to let you take a snapshot once the screen goes gray like this. And then we go like so. And that will copy it to your clipboard and then automatically onto your sheet. And that's the last one. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I have added a little bit of a, in case this happens to you, lecture, because it happens to me all the time. When you're copying photos into PowerPoint. Now, let's say you do import those images onto PowerPoint, but you get a case where this happens. When they show you, right? And basically what's happened is your photo is significantly larger than your sheet, right? And that's what happens. And don't panic. So let's go back to 100. I'll show you how to actually fix that. So 100% I think is the standard view. If this happens, don't freak out. What you want to do is zoom out and resize your image. Now here's how you do it. At the bottom right of the screen, you'll see this slider and number here. This slider controls how zoomed in or zoomed out your screen is, right? You can adjust this using that, or you can use these symbols. Press the negative to zoom out, a positive to zoom in, or you can actually click this number and you have these preset values that you can choose, or you can select your own percentage. So that's one way to solve this. You can zoom out until you see the whole image and then resize using those handles until it is small, put it back in, like so. I know it's tiny, and then you zoom back in. That's one way to fix it. The other way is this, right? You have this again. Now, because in Microsoft Office, when you reduce an image down to a really small size, it doesn't actually ruin the pixels compared to if you use Microsoft Paint. Here's what I mean by that. So Microsoft Paint, for example, let's say I have my photo here, and I resize this image to very, very small. Let's say I do this, right? Hold on, click the wrong one. If I resize it to really, really small, like so, and then I go back in there, and then I expand it again, actually too far in, right? And then I get it and I expand it again. This is what happens, oops, to the pixels. Right, because this is all pixel-based, this Microsoft Paint. However, in Office, if you resize, it doesn't ruin the resolution, right? You actually have to compress the image for something like that to happen. So what you can do is you can actually adjust the size of this using numbers. So you can just click on the image, right? And you kind of just have to click on it, like maybe once or twice, just to be sure you've clicked on it, because you can't see the edges. And if you go to this Format tab, which will only activate if the image has been selected. On the far right, you're going to see this Size section, and this dictates the height and width of your image. All right, so let's go adjust that. So it's 70 centimeters. I'm going to adjust that to, make sure I highlight all of it, to like 10, right? And the problem with this one is, or a little bit of a disadvantage, is you don't see where it goes. So you've got to zoom out, you've got to find the image, and there it goes. However, a cool thing about it is if you resize it to 10 centimeters, it will automatically calculate the same scale so that it's not squished like that, for example, right? So once you get up to this point, you can just move it onto your screen, like so. So that's it. That's a second video on zooming in, zooming out, and how to address the large images pasting problem, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you at the next video. Hi, welcome back. So we're going to be learning cutting, copying, and pasting, an additional one called duplicating. Now, you can apply this technique to text, to images, to the sheets themselves, to files, and pretty much to anything I can think of, and it transcends beyond Microsoft Office. So I've seen it done in other programs. I've seen it done on web browsers, so it's a very, very useful technique. We're going to begin with cutting. So first we need to get an image in here. So let me just get my image, just so you know where it's coming from. Oh, there we go. So we've got a picture of Luna in there. You just resize it. You should be able to do this now. All right, now here's how cutting works. Make sure first you select the image. So you're telling Excel, okay, this is what I want to cut. So we select the first. As you can see, it's got all the handles there, which means activated. Also, another telltale sign that it's activated is this Format tab appears, the picture tools, all right? And you want to go to the Home menu tab, and you want to click on Cut right here, the scissors. And what's going to happen is it's going to disappear for a second. And what's happened is it's taken it out of your document and just saved it onto what's called the clipboard. And it's this imaginary floating cloud in the sky somewhere, I don't know, floating around somewhere, and it's stored there. And PowerPoint is waiting for you to go, where do you want to put it to? So let's say I want to start a new slide. Let's go in here, and I want to paste it into this slide now. So I go from the Home menu tab, and I click on Paste. So I go click on that, and that's now going to paste it into this sheet here. So essentially what's happened, you cut it, you take it from one location, and you paste it into another. So that's the first one. The next one is copying. Copying is similar to cutting, except that when it goes to the clipboard, a copy stays on your document. So let me show you how that works. Let's go back to the original, right? So we now have what we had before. So instead of my drawing tool, clicking cut, we're going to click copy. What's going to happen is the cursor is just going to blink really quickly like that. Let me show you that again. Copy, right? So now it's been saved to the clipboard, but only a copy has been saved to the clipboard. So now we go to the other sheet, like so, and we click on paste like we did before. Now what you'll notice is if I look down here on the left, there's a copy here and a copy here. And that's what cutting, copying, and pasting is. Now the last one is duplicating. Now this one's very useful. There's two ways to do it. And I usually do this for when I'm doing a diagram with lots of like arrows or text boxes. It's just so I don't have to keep creating the same text box. Also, if you ever create a text box, and essentially what that is, it's just a box with text, similar to this, right? If you apply formatting to that text box, each time you create a new one, you have to reapply the formatting. So by duplicating those text boxes, you're duplicating the formatting, thus reducing your time and increasing your productivity. That's just my dog playing with the ball. So from here to copy it, there's two ways. The first way is to just use your keyboard and press Control D. And as you can see, it's created a new copy for me. So I'm going to post up a photo of the keyboard on how to do that. What buttons to press, and it should be appearing right now. Okay, there it is. And then the other method, I just get rid of this one, is a little bit more complicated, but much faster. What you do is you hold the Control button on your, select the image first, and you hold the Control button on your keyboard, then you'd move it to another location. And because you're holding Control, you're already telling Excel, okay, wherever I move it to, I'm creating a duplicate. And you just release the mouse click button, so you never let go of the Control button, like so. And I can do that as many times as I want. And that is extremely quick if you want to create multiple images of the same thing. Okay, so that's how you do cutting, copying, pasting, and finally duplicating. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, welcome back. I am very excited about this particular video because this is the best part of PowerPoint, and it proves how super awesomely lazy I am, and yet you can get such good results. And it's really just about using what's available to make it awesome, right? And this is what's called design themes. And this is really easy. The reason we don't do much styling when you're constructing your PowerPoint presentation is because you want to let PowerPoint do that. You kind of want to avoid doing it yourself because it's a very arduous task. It's very laborious because let's say you have 15 slides. You can't go into each one and do the formatting, right? It's very slow. So you've got to use themes which apply to the entire document. Let me show you what I mean. So if you go to the Design tab, you're going to see these themes here, these pictures on the left. Each one of these are pre-designed themes by Microsoft, and most of them are really, really good. And actually, I'm going to show you a bit later how to download new ones that other people make and ones that I can make as well that you guys can download and all that. So let me show you first how it works. Right now, we have the Office theme, and Office theme is just no theme at all, essentially. It's just a very basic, no background, no styling. It's just very pure, right? So if we go in here, there's actually 3 triangles you see, an up, a down, and then this down with a line. Down with a line expands the entire thing, like so. The other one, if I just click outside, lets you scroll through them as a list without maximizing. That's all it is, okay? So let's go pick one. We are on... Here we are, Office theme. Let's click the next one. And what you'll notice is all these ones have updated. I didn't have to select each individual sheet. It just did it automatically. And also, look at this. All the font has been updated as well. Look at the justification. Look at the layout. I mean, it's applied it to everything. It's just so lazy. Look at that. I mean, it looks like I did a lot of work. And that's what I love, you know? And there's just so many you can choose from, and so many more you can download. And you know what's crazy? You can actually make them yourself. You can make them yourself, and you can keep reusing them. I mean, look how awesome these are. Okay, so those are design themes. And one extra thing I want to show you is what's called the variants. So even within these themes, there are variations within the same theme. So let's pick a simple one. Where's the one I just used before? Yeah, that one, right? If you go to this area on the right, you'll have variants, and that has slight variations between them within the same theme, as you can see. So the structure essentially is the same, but just the appearance is different. Now, in addition to this, you can actually choose the colors. So if I choose this button right here, right? You have all these different colors that you can choose from. Now, to a good example, I think I have to show you on this one. Okay. So if we go here, you can have, you can have, let's say, that color. So as you can see, all the dot points have changed. The border color have changed. So even within them, you can make it your own kind of preference. So beyond colors, you can also change the fonts. And the beauty of this is that it changes the font for the entire document, not just the area you've selected. So if we go down, and there's so many to choose from. And if you're a beginner, you don't want to customize it yourself. This is a great way of getting all the formatting and styling done in an instant. So I always do this at the very end because it's kind of like a personal mental reward for, an awesome nerd who's just like, yep, looks like I spent 3 days on it. Took me only 30 minutes. So let's pick Century Gothic. There we go. What else can you change? There's one more. Effects. That's more for styling. You don't need that at the moment. Oh, and then background colors. I mean, there's just so many you can do so easily. In the older versions, it wasn't this good. So yeah, really use this to the full potential and just pick as many as you like. Okay, so there's heaps to choose from, and if you hover, you can actually see all the different ones. Man, there's so many, and they're just... Now, it looks so cool. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. Play around with this, and I'll see you guys next time. Hi, welcome back. So in this one, we're going to be looking at presentation views, and what that means is the different ways you can view your PowerPoint as you're building and constructing it. Okay? Because we're at that point now where you can put a presentation together. Now it's about how to manage your presentation. Right now, we only got 3 slides. What if you had 50? How do you organize 50 slides? Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is what's called the slide sorter view. So we go to the view menu tab. We're going to go to presentation views, and you're going to click on the middle one, slide sorter, right? So that's the button there. Or if you look down here on the right, there's also this button right here. Okay, that's the same thing. These two are the exact same thing. The view we're on now is just called the normal view, which is the one that's been activated right here. And that is the same as this button on the bottom. Okay, those are the exact same thing. So if we go ahead and click slide sorter, we're going to come up with a grid, right? And this is going to show all your slides, and it's going to give you a bird's eye view of everything that's going on. Now, in addition to that, if you go to the zoom function here, where am I dreadful? It will actually change the amount of slides you have going across. So if I zoom in, for example, it's going to eventually put one down at the bottom, see? Like so. And if I want to view a particular slide, I just double click and I go back into normal view. All right, so that's extremely useful. And one of the things you can do in there is you can rearrange your slides so that you get the right order. So here's how I do it. Let's just create a slide right now, just saying, congratulations. So thanks for watching, right? Right. Jed Quinto, let's say I'd made that and I put it at the very start, right? Let's say I built it there. If I go to my slide sorter view, zoom out a bit, and I want to rearrange, I go, oh no, that should be at the very end. I can click and drag it wherever I want. There you go. I can move this around. You can even copy these slides. If I go right click, copy, select where I want to paste it. So that's the cursor there. Paste. There you go. So you can copy, you can delete. This is real good for planning. Okay, so that is the slide sorter view. The other one we're going to look at is what's called the outline view. And this is another very useful view. So let's go to the view menu tab and same section, presentation views. Instead of clicking slide sorter, we're going to click outline view. Now this is very similar to normal view with one slight change. This navigation pane on the left, instead of it being a picture of what the slide looks like, it actually has the contents in there. I don't use this that much. I do use it, but not as much as the other stuff, simply because I don't put that much text in my documents anyway. But if you need to, it's a great way of adjusting what you need to adjust from here. The reason being, sometimes your sheets can be quite intricate with a lot of objects in there, a lot of pictures, and then trying to click a certain thing can be a bit annoying sometimes. So you can go straight in here and just make the adjustment. So if I want to add something in here, I can add it. and it will automatically update my sheet like so. Okay, so that's the slide sorter view, the normal view, and the outline view. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Hey, welcome back. So we are nearing the end of this course. It is time now to present your presentation, to show and share your story with the world. So step 1, we're doing a presentation. You gather your friends and family. Step 2, gather your colleagues. Step 3, provide some beverages and snacks and little sandwiches. Step 4, make sure you got seats and nice lighting. And then once you got all that, it's time to do your presentation. Here's how you do it. You go to your slideshow menu tab. You go to Start Slideshow, and the one we're interested in are these two over here. You have Play from Beginning and From Current Slide, and I'll show you why you'll need this second one. When you play from Beginning, it's going to show your presentation from the beginning. To go left and right, you can press any key on the keyboard, really. I usually press space, just because it's the biggest button, and it goes through your slides. If you ever need to go back, you press backspace, and that allows you to go backwards and forwards. Now, if you have a mouse and you want to do it with a mouse, on the bottom here, which is very, very faint, and you can't see it, but I will zoom in and show you, you can go left and right using these. I don't really like to do that because people can see the mouse and it's a little bit distracting when you really just want them to focus on what's on the page. Okay? So that's how you do a presentation. Now, there will be cases where the computer will suddenly log out of PowerPoint, or it will freeze, or you don't actually need to present it from the beginning, right? You go, okay, this first part doesn't apply to you. I just want to show you these particular slides. So you want to play it from the current slide. There's 2 ways to do that. If we go to the slideshow menu tab, right, and that button I mentioned before, From Current Slide, that will start playing the presentation on whatever slide you have selected here, okay? Now this button, From Current Slide, is also available all the way down here on the right. I'm going to glide over there, and that's this button here. Okay? And that's how you play your presentation. And it's very, very simple. Next, we're going to go through some of the tools you can actually use when you're in the presentation. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, welcome back. So in this one, I'm going to show you a few tools you can have during your presentation if you want to guide or you want to make a point or you need to refer to your sheet in terms of drawing on it. So those are called annotation tools and notation tools. I think it's ANOTTACION. I don't know how to spell annotation. Okay, so my mouse. Okay, so I've got the slide on right now. And if I go through, okay, this is a good example. And you remember these buttons I showed you earlier. There is the button right here, the third one, and that is your annotation tools. So if we go ahead and click there, there's several options. We can have a laser pointer, a pen, or a highlighter. So let me show you what a laser pointer does. Let's say you do have something intricate, like an engineering design or a graphic design that you want to show, and you need to refer to a certain part on that screen. Right? Or even showing mathematics with my cursor go, right? If I click on laser pointer, it's going to show a red dot where my cursor is. So this is a lot easier to see than a mouse cursor, especially because it's white. At least this one is red, and I can actually go, look at this. That's my dog, or it's age 16 weeks, right? The next one you can use is a pen, which means you can actually draw on it, but it doesn't save it onto the sheet. Okay, this is just a temporary thing. So I can go, there's my dog there. There's her foot. There's her teddy bear that she stole from my other dog, and I know what that is. I think that's a ball that we bought her, right? So that's a pen, and the last one is highlighter. If I go highlighter, I can actually go that one, and that one. And if you want to get rid of all this, it's really easy. You go back to that pen, you go eraser, and you can get rid of individual ones that you do, or you can click on it again. Where'd it go? There we go. Erase all ink on slide, and that just gets rid of all of it. Okay, so those are your annotation tools. Very useful. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello, welcome back. So I had taught you how to do a presentation. Now there is a special case that all of you are going to experience. When you do a presentation, probably 99% of the time, you're not going to be doing it on your laptop, meaning you're not going to have 30 people surrounding you and your laptop doing the presentation. It's most likely going to be connected to a projector or a TV of some sort, okay? So I'm going to show you how that's all set up because it's very, very important. Otherwise, you might be confused on the day of the presentation. So before we actually do this presentation part, right-click and you go Display Settings. You're going to see these display settings. Now, if you're not connected to a TV or a projector, you're only going to see one, right? But I'm going to show you my setup. So I put in a screenshot. As you can see there, I have a laptop and a monitor. And when you press Identify, it actually shows the numbers, as you can see on my one, right? Now, the way to connect that to a TV or a projector, the most common ways are two ways. The first is a HDMI cable, and the other is a VGA cable. So I'm going to show you what those look like. I'll do a quick Google search. You've probably all seen these cables. You may not know that's what they're actually called. So VGA cable is not Vable cable, right? And that is a VGA cable, right? And it plugs to the side of your laptop. Now, in the newer computers, they have only the HDMI port, right? And that's that's the actual port there. And this is a HDMI cable. So it's similar to what you see on most of your flat screen TVs. So if you're connected by either one of those, you're going to have this second screen. Now, there are two options in viewing this. If you go down to the bottom, you're going to see multiple displays. And there's two. There is duplicate these displays, or also known as mirroring. And the second one is extend these displays. In duplicate these displays or mirroring displays, what happens is whatever you see on your screen, you're going to see on the projector or on the TV. It's going to be identical. So essentially, it's just really one screen. It's just duplicated. Now, the one that's a little bit more useful for presentations is extend these displays. Extend these displays means you have two independent screens where you can jump from one to the other and transfer your document and so on. So that's most likely the one you'll be using. I prefer to use this one. So if you go extend these displays, so what happens is when you have extend these displays, let's go back to the PowerPoint. When you play your presentation, you're going to have two presentation interfaces. One is going to be the actual presentation, and the other is sort of like a management face or kind of a preview face to the next slide. So let me show you. Let's go. Let me just start the presentation. Now, I'll show you what all this is. If you have just a single screen, this is what you'll see. When you have dual screen, you're going to see this on the TV or projector, and then on the other one on your laptop, you're going to see this. Let me explain to you what this screen is. This is the slide that everyone can see, but they're not seeing what you're seeing. They're only seeing this screen. Then it also shows your next slide and any notes that you've written for that particular document, which we'll get into later on. It's not hugely important at this stage. It also shows you number of slides and which slides you're on. You have arrows to allow you to go from left to right for your slides. And this is essentially what you see on your screen. Now, if you're seeing the presentation on your laptop and then seeing this one on the TV, here's how you switch them. If you go Display Settings, you go Swap Presenter View and Slide View. And that will switch them on your computer so you can go back and forth. All right? Now, let's say you don't really need this one. You can actually hide this. If you click on these three dots right here, right? I click here, you can go Hide Presenter View. And what you'll end up with is just the presentation on the TV or monitor, okay? So those are the two views, the presenter view and then what is called the slide view, all right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see you next time. Hey, welcome back. So I'm going to show you how to get even more design themes for free. Here's how you do it. We only have the ones we have here, so I'm going to show you exactly where to go. You want to open up your browser, and you want to go Microsoft PowerPoint templates. All right? And then you're going to see this link here, Microsoft PowerPoint templates right there. And there's actually heaps. People make them all the time, so there's heaps and heaps of templates to download. But this is good because this is from Microsoft themselves, which means you don't have any issues with potential viruses and all that kind of stuff. So I tend to go here for my templates. And once you're here, you can simply select any template you want. And what's great about this is they have some for Excel, some for Word, and, heaps of categories that you can choose from. We're going to be picking, what am I in the mood for? This one. Let's do this one. Now, this one, I didn't pick by coincidence. I've actually already downloaded it. So let's go and check it out. There we go. So I've downloaded it and just opened the file, like so. Right, so nice and pretty. I've got the design theme for me and everything. So what we want to do now is combine this or apply this theme to the presentation we've already done with the Miss Luna Lovegood. This one, okay? Here's how you do it. So first of all, I'm going to save this and minimize that. Then from here, you want to go to the review. Oops, where's my journal tool? Review menu tab, and you want to click compare. So we go ahead and do that, and we want to locate that file, that Luna Lovegood file. So we found it right there, and we go merge. All right, and you're going to have these review functions right here. What we want to do is click on this one right here. I think it's this one. It's one of them. One of them is the Luna Lovegood one. Yep, this is the one. So I want to attach all the slides, like so. And now we have all the slides. Now the problem is they still have the original formatting. So all we have to do is update the layout. So from here, we can go right-click, layout, and pick the same one in book 16. So we have title slide. So click title slide, and that's going to update that. We do the same thing for here. We go, where's layout? Layout, this one is to content. We go to content. Why isn't that right-clicking? There we go. Layout, this one is to content as well. There we go. And this one is the last one. This is just section header. I would just pick section header. And there we go. We can just delete the rest of the slides. Once we're happy with that, we go review and we just accept the changes. So let's go ahead and do that. Accept all changes to the presentation, and then we're done. So now we have our original presentation that we did, but now in a brand new template. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this section and this video, and I'll see you guys this side.